Hey everyone, here is your little short recording for the 4.04 surface area lesson. I just wanted to go over a few questions with you so you don't have any problems with the quiz. So your objectives for this lesson are that you can use nets to determine the surface area of three-dimensional figures. We have talked about nets, we've talked about three-dimensional figures, and the reason why we learned how to do nets is specifically to find the surface area of these three-dimensional figures. So here are our three-dimensional objects. We've got cones, we've got cylinders, we've got spheres, we've got square pyramids, we've got cubes, we've got triangular prisms, we've got rectangular prisms, we've got triangular pyramids, all kinds of different three-dimensional objects. And remember that a net is when you unfold that solid, and it's the two-dimensional model of it. So it's the flat model of what it would look like if you cut along the edge of this model and laid it out all flat. That's what your net is. Now when we're talking about surface area, all you have to do now is, like if we're looking at this model of our cube here in the middle, all you would need to do is find the area of each face of the shape and then add them together, and that's your total surface area. Hopefully you have done the homework portion of this lesson, the get ready, learn, and practice section, because that will help you a lot as well. So remember that the face is the flat surface of your 3D shape. So it is on this cube here, we would have 6 faces. We would have a front and we would have a back. We would have a top and we would have a bottom. We would have a right side and we would have a left side. So we would have to find the area of all 6 sides and then add them together. And this is like our net. So remember, a tip to remember the net is to count all the faces. So this net is going to have the same number, the same amount, and same size of faces as the solid is. But a net can also help you with the area. You can label each face of your net and make sure that you find the area of each one. So if I were starting with number 1 and finding the area, and let's say this side was 5 and this side was 5, because it looks like that's a square, all I would have to do to find the area is multiply the length times the width, or the base times the height, and find the area of this shape would be 25. Then I could mark off that shape. I know that I found the area of that shape, then I can move on to number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Once I have all those areas, just add them together, and that's your total surface area. So let's look a little bit closer at the surface area of a cube. That's what we were just looking at. But something neat that we know about a cube is that the length, the height, the width of a cube, they are all the same size. The length of every single side of your cube is going to be the same. So to find the area of one of your squares, all you have to do is use this formula right here. Area equals S squared, and that means a side length. This S means, let's see if I can get that written up there good enough for you. This means side length, okay? Length, oops, missed the T. S equals a side length. So if I had a side length of 2, if I was only given one side length, I could still find the surface area of this cube because I know that all the sides are the same. So S squared, a side length squared, would be 2 squared. 2 squared, I know 2 times 2 is going to be 4, so the area of every single one of my cubes is going to be 4. Every single one of my squares, every one of my faces of my cube. So then I would just take my 4 and multiply it by 6 since I have 6 faces. And the total surface area would be 24 units cubed. Units squared. Sorry, we're not into volume yet. Units squared. We're still talking about area. Okay, so here's an example. And what I'd like you to do right now is to pause the video and try to solve this one on your own. We have a surface area of a cube, and one side length is 6 millimeters. So go ahead and pause your video. And hopefully you have come back now, and we can solve this together, and you can check and see if what you did was correct. So we're going to use the area formula of a cube, and you can see that it's the same as a rectangle, really, guys. It's just base times height. But since all of the side lengths of a square are equal, we can just take the area equals base squared or side squared. Whatever it is, you're going to take the length of one of the sides and you're going to square it. So if I have my area equals a side length squared, I know that my side length is 6, and then I'm going to square it. Now remember, when we have exponents, that doesn't mean I'm going to take 6 times 2, okay? That's not what that exponent means. The exponent tells us how many times I am going to multiply that base number by itself. So I'm going to take 6 and multiply it by itself 2 times. That's it. That's what that exponent means. And so the area of that one square is going to be 36, okay, of just this one side. Now I know that every single side of a cube is going to be the same, and there are 6 faces. I know that about cubes. So I'm going to take that 36 and I'm going to multiply it by the 6 faces that we have. So 36 times 6. Let's solve that. 6 times 6 is 36. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. So the area, the total surface area of my shape would be 216 millimeters squared. Did you get it correct? I hope so. If you need to, you can go back and rewatch that again. All right, so let's talk about the surface area of a rectangular prism then. The rectangular prism has, again, 6 faces, just like a cube, but the measurements of the lengths and widths are going to be a little bit different, okay? So let's have a look at these notes down here. The front and back faces have the same dimensions, okay? So if you're looking at the front and the back here, those are the same. The top and the bottom, they will have the same dimensions. So here's the bottom. Here's the top. And the 2 end faces will also have the same dimensions. So the left and right will be the same. Sometimes your front, bottom, back, and top, they will all be the same, but sometimes they won't be. So make sure that you know that the front and back will be the same. The bottom and the top will be the same. And the left and the right will be the same. Okay? And we are going to use, since we're working with rectangles now, we're going to use the rectangular formula for area, which is length times width. So let's do a practice problem here. If we have the surface area of this rectangular prism, you can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shapes. Now, if you remember, our top and our bottom are going to be the same. So I'm going to put a star here with this 2. My length is 3 and I know my width is 4, and this one right here is going to be the same. Length and width is 4. So these 2 are the same. They're equal. I'll put a smiley face with these 2 because 1 and 3 are also the same. And 5 and 6, I'll put a little dot here. They are going to be the same. So really we only have to find the area of 3 shapes and add them together. So let's start with 1 and 3, okay? 1 and 3, I'm going to take the base times the height. So I have 4 and 2 are my side lengths, so I'm going to take 4 times 2, that's a times, doesn't look like a times, and that would equal 8. Okay, so each one of these, 1 and 3, is going to be 8. 2 and 4, let's have a look at 2 and 4. Again, my width of my shape is going to be 3. The height of my shape is 4. Right there is 4. So I'm going to multiply those together. Base times height gives me 12. So each of my shapes 2 and 4, the ones that are stars, are going to be 12. My smiley faces are 8. Now I have to figure out 5 and 6. Okay, so the height of my shape is 2 for both of them. You can notice the height of my shape is 2 and the width of my shape is 3. So I'm going to take 3 times 2 and that equals 6. So my dot, each one of those is 6. Now, once I have figured out the area of all of my sides, all of my faces, I need to add them together. But don't make the mistake that if you only find the area of 1, like this 8 here, I can't just add 8, 12, and 6. That's only going to give me the area for 3 of my sides. Remember that we found the area of 2 faces each. So we would essentially need to multiply each of these by 2 first before we can add our areas together. So 8 times 2 will be 16, 12 times 2 will be 24, and 6 times 2 will be 12. Now we can add, okay? So 10, 12, carry my 1, 4, and 5. So my total surface area would be 52 centimeters. That's supposed to be centimeters squared. Now, I could do this another way. If this multiplying by 2 confused you, you could just write down the area of each face. So face 1 was 8. Face 2 was 12. Face 3 was 8. Face 4 was 12. Face 5 was 6. And face 6 was 6. And then you could add those all together and you will still get the same answer of 52 centimeters squared. All right, now we're going to look at the surface area of a triangular prism, but you're going to kind of figure out that this is going to work as well for other shapes. Okay, so a triangular prism, you have 5 faces. Okay, so you're going to have 5 different areas that you need to add together to find the total surface area of your shape. So if you look, you can notice on this that your back and your front are going to be your same. The bottom or the base is going to be different from anything else. And the left and right triangles are going to be the same. Now, whenever you're dealing with triangles, you have to use the triangle area formula, which is 1/2 base times height. Okay, don't forget to take that 1/2 or your whole surface area is going to be off. And then for the rectangular sides, we're going to use area equals length times width. Now for your practice on this one, again, pause. If you think you want to try and figure this out on your own, I encourage you to do that. In your quiz, you are going to do this type of problem, not a triangular prism, but a square pyramid. Now a square pyramid, when it is all folded up, looks like the pyramids in Egypt. Okay, it's got a square base, but then all 4 sides of it are triangles meeting up in the top. So we have got 4 equal triangles and 1 square base. So we're going to use the triangle formula and we are going to use the square formula to find the total area of this shape. So first of all, if we're going to label these faces 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be the same, right? We're going to take 1/2 of our base, which if we're looking at this shape here, we're going to look at the bottom shape, and we know that with a square, since this is also side of our square, all the sides of the square are going to equal the same thing. So we know that even though this measurement down here is 5, the measurement of the bottom of our triangle is also going to be 5. So my base is 5, and my height, you can see, is going to be 4.5. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to multiply our 1/2 times 4 times 4.5. So 4.5 times 5 is going to give us 22.5, but we still have to take half of it, okay? Half of 22.5 is going to be 11.25. 11.25 inches squared. Okay, now know that we just found the area of one triangle, okay? And we have 4 on this shape. So to find the total area of all 4 of those triangles, we would need to multiply that number by 4. So let's just figure out what that is right now. 11.25 times 4 is going to equal 45. Okay, so now we have figured out, if it helps to put like a check mark inside the shape to know that you are done finding that area, do that. Okay, now we need to find the area of our square. Shape number 5 is our square. And we know that to find the area of a square, we're going to take one side and we're going to square it. That's where that 2 exponent gets its name. We're squaring it because that's how you find the area of a square. So we're going to take 5 squared, and remember that exponent is telling me that that's how many times I need to multiply my base. So that would be 5 times 5, and that would equal 25. So the area of my square, check mark in that, I have found it. Okay, so now we've got the area of our 4 triangles, we've got the area of our square. All we have to do is add those together to get our total surface area, and that would be 70 inches squared. So hopefully you got that correct when you paused the video. All right, so those 3 questions that I just went over are the type of questions you're going to see on your quiz. You're going to see 3 cube areas, surface areas that you need to find. You're going to see 1 rectangular prism, and you're going to see 1 square pyramid. Okay? All right, so just as you go out to take your quiz, please make sure that you have completed all of the parts of your area, of your surface area lesson before you start your quiz, okay? Please make sure that you go through the get ready section, the learn section, the practice section, the review section before you take your quiz, okay? Those lessons are really great and they tell you a lot of good information, and they are going to be able to go over a lot more information than I did in this video. And also remember that the end of 3rd quarter is coming right up. So as of this lesson right now, 4.04, this is what your grade is going to be based on. So please make sure that you go through, check all of units 1, 2, and 3, and these 3 assignments in unit 4, make sure that you have all of those done. And on Friday this week when we don't have class, use that time to make things up. That's going to be your big makeup day. Okay, and then just one other announcement. While I am gone, I won't be having any tutor times. I won't be available to answer any questions. So please make sure that you, if you need it, go see Mrs. Farnsworth on Friday. If you'll notice down here at the bottom, right here, 6th graders, you'll see it on your schedule. Mrs. Farnsworth has a tutor time from noon to 1 o'clock on Friday. If you are needing help with any of the assignments that have been assigned while I'm gone, please go work with her on them. She would love to have you come and work with her. All right, so remember that third quarter ends on March 23rd. Don't forget that you do have assignments both for Wednesday and Thursday. That would be this lesson that we just went over, 4.04 and 4.05. There will be a recording for that one as well. And you will have an exit ticket in the same place. It will be under the date of the 15th. So your exit ticket will be 3/15/17 exit ticket for the 4.04 lesson. So please make sure that you do that. Your password is Surface. And hopefully you guys do a great job on this quiz. We'll talk about it more when I come back on Monday. But good luck and have a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.